Friday Night Live, Purdy Night Live. Welcome back to Damon Bruce Plus and Thinking Out Loud. That is our good friend Sam Batesh. And Sammy, we got ourselves some news that broke this afternoon about Brock Purdy's new contract. Of course, this would happen on a day where we had a neighborhood scheduled power outage. Thank you very much, NFL. Your timing is impeccable. But hey, no time like the present to hop in and just get going. Sammy, always great to see you. Glad we could do this here on a Friday night. And the big news is 5 years, $265 million deal, 181 in overall guaranteed money for Brock Purdy. It's not as big as some had feared. It is larger than some will want, but actually, I think when you look at it and you would apply reason and market and timing, pretty damn good deal for the San Francisco 49ers and a life-changing deal for Brock Purdy. Next round's on him.
This is what you and I have been asking for. Brock Purdy, you're welcome. For the entire team of agents that made this happen on Brock Purdy's team, you're welcome. We have been we've been unwavered on this. We were not going to shudder at Brock Purdy $50 million. That was what you and I were signed up for that, and we made it really simple for everybody else. We said, go ahead and make a list of top 10 on your own if you want. Look at salaries and look at the top 10 if you want.
To argue with it is to admit out loud, you do not sprechen Sie Deutsch. Like, you don't even understand how the language is set up. So stop trying to tell everyone how they should speak. Like, this was going to happen in this neighborhood.
This league and this position, quarterback, is just different. And if you've got one that isn't a disaster, number one, you're sleeping well at night. Number two, you're signing a ridiculous check. That's it. And the difference between sleeping at night and questioning whether or not you have the right guy, that's the disastrous position to be in. The Giants are coming off of this with Daniel Jones. And yes, that was money thrown at the wrong thing. Can we decipher here? Because the fear for people, I think, in this, Damon, is Daniel Jones. I still think that's the fear. The fear is Brock Purdy, Daniel Jones. Can we look at the differences between those two guys? The comparison is not fair, because what Brock Purdy has done in his time with the reins and what Daniel Jones did with his time with the reins, it's not
first of all
comparable.
Duh. I mean, there's nothing to even talk about there. There's zero to talk about there. I mean, there are a lot of reasons why you give Brock Purdy a contract like this. If we just removed Brock Purdy's name, the firebrand that for some reason he's become, which is just one of the more ridiculous things we've seen in a long time. Like, here's the deal. Brock was not just handed this contract because the market was right. He's done an awful lot to earn it. First of all, teammates and coaches love this guy. That might not mean much to fans, but it means something to franchises. He's a hard worker. He's dedicated. He's careful. He's meticulous. Might not mean much to fans. Definitely means something to the franchise.
Yeah.
He has never, Sammy, lost a press conference. He is undefeated behind that microphone when it comes to repping the team, himself. He's stable. He's unprovocative. He's married. He's religious without being too religious-y. Yeah. He checks all of those boxes. He bought his offensive line. I don't know if he actually bought them. Well, but he got them all trucks. He arranged it. That's for sure.
Pretty awesome.
He's faster than you think. He's smarter than you think. And he's already thrown for a single season record in passing yardage. Not bad for a guy who everyone says his arm's not strong enough. But how about this, Sammy? Let's just say none of that was real, and the inverse of all of that was true, and he was sort of a suspicious dude, and he wasn't good with the media, and he wasn't beloved in the locker room, and he wasn't really liked, but he was still a 25-year-old quarterback who's brought you to 2 NFC title games and a Super Bowl and was legitimately in an MVP race. A bad guy who's done all that by the age of 25. Somebody who isn't liked by people, coaches, media, whatever, who still has the highest passer rating in NFL history after 3 seasons of football. The asshole gets paid, much less the good guy gets paid.
again, this position is about not only putting your team in position to win, it's about leading the team week in and week out. It's about not doing the right thing. It's about saying the right thing. You laid all of that out. And when we stack up the quarterbacks, just in his conference even, we can admit, look, it's okay to admit the AFC is quarterback heavy, people like to say. And obviously, look, when you've got Mahomes and Burrow and Lamar and Josh Allen in the AFC, you could say that. But in the NFC, there are teams that have no idea what is happening at the quarterback position. And the Niners don't have that issue. And by the way, they're 3 seasons away from not having a clue what to do at the position. Brock Purdy saved them. And by them, we can say Kyle Shanahan, we can say John Lynch. It pretty much comes down to that. Those 2 men were saved by what Brock Purdy has done on the field. And can we all admit that at the time Brock Purdy came in to start games for Trey Lance, a game for Trey Lance, we had no idea it would go this well?
Oh, you couldn't. It would have been insane to even assume it would go half this well. You thought, maybe he can get you through the rest of this year, this moment, but there's going to be nothing that like permanently attaches him to this position. And then like 3-4 days later, you're like, wait a minute, what is this? I can play a little bit.
And I want to bring this up because I want to remind 49ers fans. 49ers fans love the fact that they smashed the Eagles the year after the NFC Championship game because of what Debo had said coming off of that NFC Championship game. Remember, Brock Purdy is blown up by Hassan Reddick on a play that's not Purdy's fault. Obviously, the offensive line did nothing on that play, and Reddick comes in and destroys his arm in that game, and he cannot come back in. And the Niners go on to lose a very uneventful NFC Championship. And Debo comes out and says, what if we didn't lose our quarterback in that game? Stop talking about you as NFC champions when you know that we were not at our best in that game. And then the next season, prove it on the field with a healthy Brock Purdy. Purdy missing that game. This is the equivalent of Steph Curry, essentially, what happened in that series against the Timberwolves. Steph Curry is out. You never see a win again. Purdy's out of that NFC Championship game. You're not competitive at all. And
down again.
And Debo says we would have won that game if Brock Purdy is in it. That's all I need to hear.
I don't know. That was great for Philadelphia and the San Francisco Sports Talk Radio. We do know that. But, like, who knows? The quarterback must go down hard. Eagles did nothing wrong that day. It sucks that it happened. That is football. And in that one moment, instead of so many fans learning the lesson of, hey, with this guy, we're a real monster, but without this guy, we look like we should have the first pick in the draft. You'd think that there would have been a little like connection of the value there, but no, it seemed that some have never moved off the fact he was the last pick in the draft, as if the NFL draft is the only entrance point to greatness in this league. And if you're last, well, then there's no way you could possibly ever be great.
And look at the list of quarterbacks that have gone first or in the first round that have never amounted to shit in this league. And we learned it this season. What happened with Shedeur Sanders, I understand that we're not going to know really for a decade to look back and say whether the Shedeur Sanders pick was right or wrong at that point in the 5th round. But we learned one thing. And it came out again and again from all of the mock drafts that were angry about the fact that Shedeur went in the 5th round. You know, it was admitted, and sure, Kuiper said it the loudest, but everybody thought it. This league is terrible at evaluating quarterbacks when it comes to the draft. When it comes to getting them into the league, this league as a whole, team by team, is not great at pinpointing who is best.
It's the hardest position in sports to evaluate. It's the hardest position in sports to evaluate. You want to take an absolute stud from an SEC school? Was he really that good, or was the team that good around him and they made him look good? You go and take a guy from Iowa State who, by the way, since Brock Purdy was drafted from Iowa State, not a lot of Cyclones in the headlines. You know what I mean? Like he was the tide that raised all the boats in the harbor. So it's hard to evaluate. And by the way, while Brock was doing that, he did so at a level that the guy who was surrounded by All-Americans everywhere, was still much more impressive. So you underestimated him. And this happens over and over and over and over again. And then sometimes you take the perfect guy who played at the perfect level and all this stuff. And Tim Tebow, guess what? He's not a pro quarterback. And that's the way it is. That's the way it is.
And we tried to see it with Tebow, and then Tebow wins a playoff game, and you say, okay, maybe, but you know what? Not even in New England. It couldn't happen. It was done for him. And that is that. And there's guys like Sanchez who go to AFC championships and then they don't ever become the guy they're supposed to be. And then there's stories like Sam Darnold, which frankly, okay, we thought it was over and maybe it's not now. And when we get into the list later and look at the top paid quarterbacks, another guy that's a great lesson is Baker Mayfield.
Right.
Do you think the Browns right now would have rather stuck with Baker Mayfield, who won them a playoff game and now is leading Tampa to back-to-back playoff seasons and NFC South championships, while the Browns are still trying to figure out the quarterback thing? Again, they basically got it right and then got it wrong in the building somehow.
They became impatient overnight. Progress is never linear, but there's an expectation that it will be. And here's the deal. Now that Brock is getting paid, he'll be given no grace to even have an incomplete pass, much less, lose 2 in a row on some couple of bad weeks in a row. But this is the life they've all signed up for. Brock's a big boy. He'll be able to handle it. He's handled everything in his career that's come at him he's just been awesome at it. He really has.
There is a question.
Wait. Let me quickly, because we want to get this show officially off and running.
Right.
What I need everyone to do right now is to lean in and hit that thumbs up button. It's going to help push this, and the algorithm will, go ahead and push it over the YouTube. And that's what we'd like to have happen. We normally are not on at this time. Obviously, it's a little bit of a rare occasion. So everyone who's watching, please, right now, thumbs up this bad boy. However many people that are watching, we should have that many thumbs up right now. If you would, please. Thank you very much. It's going to help the algorithm push it out. Thank you to my sponsors, Ike's Sandwiches. We normally talk about lunch. Let me tell you, Ike's Sandwich makes a great dinner too. They're freaking hard. For sure. You want to go and have a celebratory Brock God signed cocktail? Go to the Dubliner West portal. You'll be very, very happy that you did. And check out Campsite Tonight. If you're making a camping trip plan this summer, Campsite Tonight is an app that's like hotel.coms, but for campsites. Check that out if you would. Sammy, let's talk cookies real quick.
Let's please do it. Stata's Hamantash, everybody, from Stata's Kitchen. And I've got it in the comments right now. Stata, S-T-E-T-A, is actually the term for grandma if you're a Syrian Jew, all right, which I happen to be. But Stata's Hamantash right there. You want to get a delicious cookie. You want to have your Ike sandwich and then follow it with a beautiful shortbread and jam cookie. Those shortbread cookies from Pepperidge Farm. This is Stata's version of that. Aunt Marlene, thank you so much. Stata's Kitchen, Stata's Hamantash. Grab one. You will not regret it. I got to tell you, Damon, I'm so happy that we're doing this. I mean, yeah, it feels like, wow, Friday night. Why would you have this news now? But we have been waiting for this and pushing for this. And the reality is it didn't even have to happen before this season. It really didn't, right? I mean, think about this. The Niners could have very well had a $5 million quarterback yet again leading them for the season. But we were reminding everybody, the longer you wait, the higher this number goes. And when we look at it later, Brock's in the 50s. Remember, there is a quarterback with a 6 on his name. There is. There is a quarterback with a 6, and Brock, in another season, Brock likely would have been at that number.
The new normal, just a couple of years from now, will be a quarterback with a 7 in front of his name. It's going to happen.
Mike Florio.
Daniels.
Yes, it's going to happen. And Mike Florio made this point, and I brought it up to you before, Damon. I love this idea. What if quarterbacks that seemingly were just going to re-up with their franchise put themselves on the free agent market? Do you think Josh Allen? So Josh Allen does that little sort of behind the scenes, behind the curtain extra boost on his contract this offseason after winning the MVP. But what if he said, you know what, I'm just going to test the market. I'm going to dip my toe in the market. You think the Jets are trying to throw $70 million at Josh Allen if he becomes available?
They'd probably, negotiate a percentage of ownership to
get
a guy like that to come and play for him.
That's it. So it's interesting when you look at it and you think all of us, none of us can fathom $50 million. Let's just be clear. We're all talking as friends here. $50 million. This is not a contract that we can really understand. Deciphering between the difference of 55 and 53 is just like not even something any of us can wrap our head around because $50 million is so unfathomable. But you've got to understand where he's playing, what he's proven, and who he's proven it against. I don't understand. This isn't even college football. But it's not what Brock's not playing in a weak Mountain West conference and then shows up in a college football playoff game and gets blown out. No. He's playing in a significant division. He's winning playoff games against other quarterbacks on the list of highest paid, by the way. And I love to point this out. Nobody balked at Jordan Love's money, right? Jordan Love's contract, nobody balked at. Jordan Love's greatest game still to this day, the furthest he's gotten and the best he's done is almost beating Brock Purdy. Right. The pinnacle of Jordan Love's career to this point is that he almost but didn't beat Brock Purdy in an NFC divisional playoff game, period.
I think that the whole, like, these two quarterbacks are playing against each other is a little nuts too, because they're not playing against each other. Yes,
never.
You're right, man. And the thing that Brock Purdy has brought with him to the table every single time he's eaten is this quick processor. He sees the field, he reacts quickly, ball comes out, play is made. All results not guaranteed, just like all of them. But how much of an on-field computer are you? His computer's been running pretty damn fast since the start. It's the thing that has saved him in this league, and I think it's only going to speed up. Again, he's got 3 years under his belt now. There's a lot of guys who have, more physical talent and ability, but the processor doesn't even get there by year 3. Knowing where it was for Brock in year 1, knowing where it will hopefully be in year 4. I mean, and with zero, worry about, like, is this really my job? Is Kyle looking for another girl on the dance floor while he's actually dancing with me? Because, oh, by the way, Kyle's done that. We've been on Kyle. We know that he's always looking for the next, the better, the who else could come in here, who can provide similar results at a lower price point. Everyone really, look, it does suck that the 49ers weren't able to win a Super Bowl with Brock on the rookie contract. But I'm going to tell you, Brock is now being paid a level of money that other quarterbacks are being paid who are winning Super Bowls. Like, it's going and all fit together. It will all fit together. By the way, I got to do this real quick too, because we love super chats and people who are supporting us with that. But thank you so much. I even hit a little goal on this show. 10 super chats. I'll do a bottle pull. Well, look at the postman.
Oh, yes.
In Capitola, my postman. He goes, BOT.
He's getting there all himself.
And then he writes poll. But
okay, that he set you up. Let's go. Let's get the poll.
It is Friday night. Why wouldn't we?
Why not? And while he's doing that, and we're discussing contracts and we're looking at what Brock's done, and you talked about the rookie contract and not winning the Super Bowl on the rookie contract. Let's take a team that I love dearly, obviously, in the Eagles. The Eagles went to a Super Bowl with Jalen on a rookie deal. That's what happened in the loss to the Chiefs in the 2022 season. Jaden is now a $51 million man. And what happens? They win the Super Bowl with Hurts making $50 million. So they go there and lose on the short contract, and then they win on the huge one. So credit to Howie Roseman, but it goes to show the Niners exactly what is possible.
Well, no, so when did his new dollars kick in the year that he won, or because
no.
On like a $5 million cap hit this year, and then the money really starts kicking in.
Jalen is a significant contract for this past season.
All right.
Jalen Hurts was making his money. They had to build differently to win the championship, and they went there on a deal. When he was there the first time, they were not paying him. When they went back, they were. And that goes to show you can win when your quarterback makes $50 million. Mahomes isn't even that's wild, but he's not making $50 million. So there you go. But that is the path it can happen.
Again, algorithm pushes this video more.
Please.
The more you hit that like, the thumbs up, get it going. Sammy and here are here to talk for a while.
Yes. No.
We will keep going the more this audience grows. So bring it, interact, chat with each other. Get going, baby. It's good to be here. I didn't do a show this morning, so I got a lot of pent up in me here.
Well, I'm so glad, Damon. I'm so glad, by the way. I mean, this news, there hasn't been, I mean, the Niners have had trickles of news throughout. We had a lot of excitement thinking maybe Joey Bosa. We were talking about Jalen Ramsey. Obviously the draft was tremendous, what the schedule gave us, all of that. But we've been the whole time, we've just been biting and biting and biting for this. We knew we would get the Brock news, and it fucking landed. I love it.
By the way, E. Scott Burns. Wow, this happened. You weren't even on vacation. Grateful for the Niners. They didn't wait until August. Here's the thing. The deal is done before OTAs began. Brock had already been in the building anyways. He was already
doing the right thing. He was already doing the right thing.
Soldier in it. Exactly. But this just means no one's going to have the Trent Williams, Nick Bosa wasn't there at the beginning of OTAs. And look, another reason why I think this got done and dumped on a Friday, because this is a Friday news dump.
Yes.
And when you look at how the NFL uses its stories to constantly be ahead of all news cycles, first thing Monday morning, they're going to be on SportsCenter talking about the New York Knicks are going to see the Pacers in the Eastern Conference Finals, and Stephen A. Smith is going to be, fully doing Stephen A. Smith. And this should have been a Monday morning headline to squash down whatever happened over the weekend in the NBA or is going on in the playoffs. But for this to be a Friday news dump, first of all, thanks, Niners. Second of all, I bet you that's the way that the Purdy side did. No news, no noise. This was done with the maximum amount of decorum and discretion as humanly possible. They wanted to happen as under the radar as something like this could possibly happen under the radar. And I think that there's some symbolism that it comes out in a Friday news dump, not trying to take over the news cycle with it. You know that the NFL wants to dominate every news cycle.
And they do.
Like, this is a real choice because they just want it to be happening quietly, little fanfare. And that's another thing that I just like about this guy. I really do. I really do. I don't know if it's good for us, but it's good for them.
But what is there to not like? Again, this reminds me of the conversation we're having about the schedule. The Niners schedule, I still haven't had anyone in the chat point out where the Niners schedule isn't great for the Niners. And I want to see from people in the chat, what is it that you don't like about Brock? What are again, Ravens Christmas game, not pretty. Not pretty. With that, I think it was 4 interceptions, 3 to Hamilton, if I remember correctly. I mean, that was a brutal game in a big spot. But
I've seen brutal games in big spots. Oh, Patrick Mahomes in a Super Bowl. Oh, Justin Herbert in a playoff game. 2 guys who everybody tells me are so far and away better than Brock Purdy. And here, look, I'm not even going to argue with you. I think those guys are fantastic too.
They are.
But Brock Purdy is in the conversation of, on a day where it's going right, he can put 30 on you and win a football game. And that's really all you want for your quarterback. When the conditions are good, can you guys win an awful lot of football games? Yes. Then the breaks come up against you. Now, can you be the singular person that elevates? We tell that story so much. It makes for such a great movie. It so rarely happens where one guy, the quarterback, is the only reason why this team won. That's movie shit. It's not how any of it really works on a football field and in the NFL.
Brock Purdy works for this team also and works for Kyle Shanahan. And I want to remind everyone who says Kyle Shanahan can make anyone great. Trey Lance is supposed to be the better quarterback, is supposed to be the better athlete, is supposed to be the guy getting this contract right now. And it didn't happen. And no one could turn him into that quarterback, including Kyle Shanahan. And Brock Purdy has proven that he can be it in this offense. And every Niners fan right now, I want you to remember the first Rams game from last season. No Ayuk, no Debo, and no McCaffrey. I believe Kittle played in the game, but it was no. I know that it was obviously no McCaffrey and it was obviously no Debo, and I'm pretty sure it was no Ayuk as well. Yep. It was the Juwan Jennings hat trick game. It was Jennings had 3. It was an absolute clinic at quarterback by Brock Purdy. I still say it's the best game of his career. Now, somehow, the Niners just wet the bed at the end of that game and lost it to the Rams. I mean, I can't believe the Niners didn't win that game. But Brock Purdy was special in that game on a day when everybody would have said the chips are stacked against him and it just cannot happen. And instead, he did make it happen. And I point to that, and I can't help but replay that game again and again in my head and say, oh, that's the guy.
Right. Now,
that's the guy.
Wait. You wanted a little someone doesn't like it. Here you go. Ramilla Sports says the problem for the 49ers, gentlemen, is the quarterback getting $53 million a year. He feasts on average teams without a pass rush and good defense and good defenses. He's just an average Joe. No. And then he tries to spike the football when he says in his next chat, Rams win without Puka and Cup, but had Stafford. Case closed. No, the case is not closed.
It's not. It's not.
Case is not closed. By the way, you know who terms of all quarterbacks start doing like this when the pass rush is really good? All of them, starting with Patrick Mahomes. Did you see that fucking Super Bowl? All of a sudden, the greatest quarterback on the planet sort of looked like just a guy. You know what that's called? Football.
It's the number one way.
That's called football. Now, if you want to really be angry at the 49ers, you can say, well, let's talk about this offensive line. That's the problem for the quarterback. That's the problem. The problem isn't the quarterback who sees the field, who leads the NFL in what does he actually lead the NFL in? Passing yard.
No, this is for Brock. You're talking
rating. Yeah,
rating. No, and not even QBR. I believe this is passer rating. By the way, yeah. Right. He's by the way, he's in the record books for actually what he's done in his first 4 seasons already when it comes to rating. And remember that he, much like Garoppolo, he 9-0 before he lost the game also. And again, Garoppolo and Trey Lance could not do what Brock has done consistently now, season after season. Brock Purdy is the answer to something that was absolutely going to be a mystery. And for any Niners fan that's out there thinking, maybe there could be another guy. What are you excited about seeing Mac Jones? I remember, Damon, we spoke when Mac Jones became a Niner, and I said, I don't see it. I don't see Mac Jones on the field for this team is bad news, not good news. That's if right. Mac Jones is playing games for the Niners, that's because something has gone wrong with Brock Purdy.
Human victory cigaring weeks.
Yes, that's it. That's all you want on a Mac Jones. Brock Purdy deserves this. And again, when I look top 10 quarterbacks, top 10 in this league right now, in the chat right now, I want you to tell me where Brock Purdy, stack Brock Purdy, give me a deck of cards and put Brock Purdy in as your card where you think he slots. Right now, without thinking hard, he's number 9 for me. I'm not talking NFC. I'm talking NFL. Brock Purdy it's difficult to get him below 9. And I think it's very simple to have him anywhere between 7 and 10. If you're being honest whatsoever with yourself, that's where he belongs. And that's not even looking at the numbers.
Let's do the thought exercise real quick.
Okay.
So go ahead. Give
Mahomes. Okay, Mahomes. Let's just all say Mahomes is on an island. He's at 1. I think the next 3 guys can be in any order, but I'll tell you how I have them. I have Joe Burrow at 2. I've got Josh Allen, the MVP, at 3. In fact, and then Lamar at 4, and that is just like barely splitting hairs between 2, 3, 4. Those 4 should be top 4 anywhere, and anyone you talk to who's stacking quarterbacks and doesn't have those 4 guys as 1 through 4 in some order is ridiculous.
We can debate their order, but those are your 4 fingers on your first hand of quarterbacks, I would say. So
yes.
You've got those 4. Your 5th is?
5th is Hurts to me. And I'm going to tell you what I did, actually, and anyone who wants to can go and do the same exercise for me. Go to ChatGPT and ask for total yards per game over the last 5 seasons, including rushing and passing. Okay, so good. Just ask ChatGPT for 5 seasons, average yards per game. Hurts is actually 3rd on that list. You've got Allen and Mahomes and Hurts. All right. And by the way, what are we not accounting for rushing yards at quarterback, considering who just won the MVP and who the runner-up for MVP was?
Another thing that Brock Purdy is pretty damn good at.
You're damn right. So I've got Hurts at 5. Goff had games where he was perfect last season, according to every metric that we use for quarterback.
8.3, isn't that the best
Yes.
pass rating you
Yes.
have?
I have Goff at 6. Here's a spicy one. Baker Mayfield, I have at 7. What Baker Mayfield has done for the past 2 seasons is so far and above what I had from an expectation standpoint for Baker, and he's winning that division and winning a playoff game and nearly beating the Lions 2 seasons ago. Baker Mayfield, and by the way, in that time, beat the Eagles in a playoff game and then smashed them during their Super Bowl season, by the way. That's one of the 3 losses they had in the regular season. Baker, the only game they weren't even in was the game they played against Baker Mayfield. Then I've got Jaden at 8, Purdy at 9, and here's a spicy one, but I believe in him, and I know he was injured last season. Dak Prescott, I've got at 10.
Okay, so here's the deal. Someone's going to argue with you about Jalen Hurts, but when you're that young and you're the reigning Super Bowl MVP, it's the wrong time to be making that argument. He's in the top 10. Whether you like him in the top 5 or not doesn't matter. Again, Dak Prescott, always a lightning rod because he's a Dallas Cowboy. Therefore, he's more of a lightning rod. He's still a damn good quarterback who spits up over his shoes when the most people are watching, but he is hardly the biggest problem with the Dallas Cowboys. That's
not even close.
I noticed that you didn't have Herbert on the list. I guess with this playoff game, I don't have a problem with it. I think maybe you're asking for a little bit too much from Jared Goff there, but Jared Goff, it does live under the umbrella of overrated, underrated, never rated. Let's put him somewhere. I don't have a problem with it. And the team's been damn successful when he's been there.
I want to remind everyone one thing about Goff real quick. Now, McVay said we can't win a Super Bowl with you, even though we went to one with you. And so we bring Stafford in. Stafford wins a Super Bowl. It looks like, wow, Goff, you're clearly, that was the end of it, right? That's the end of the conversation. Stafford clearly did what you couldn't. How many playoff games did Stafford win when he was with the Lions? Zero. So Goff now has also done something that Stafford never did. So yes, Stafford won that Super Bowl for the Rams that Goff couldn't, but Goff also won significant playoff games for the Lions, which Stafford never could do. So I just want to give a little bit of credit there to Goff. Yeah. And Goff could have said, oh, too bad, I wasn't the guy. And that could, come on, that doesn't punch you in the gut that they send you away.
You know how one of your least favorite sports arguments is when people want to say, well, if you take this one season away, if you take this one championship away, everything,
Yes.
I hate that argument too. My most hated NFL argument is if you put this quarterback on that team, but if he was playing for that team, if this guy were over on that team, I hate that argument because that's not what's happening.
It's not.
And it doesn't matter. And again, Brock Purdy might not be the best quarterback in all of football, but he has been an outstanding quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers, and that's all outstanding quarterback he needs to be. And Brock Purdy doesn't have to be great in reality with the San Francisco 49ers and great theoretically with the New York Jets.
It's irrelevant.
It's
irrelevant. And it's a team with incredible expectations, pedigree, history, and record-setting performances at the position he's playing. This is Steve Young, Joe Montana, San Francisco 49ers. And here's Purdy making $50 million that he, by the way, was not gifted. He went so far again. He's the last dude picked in the draft. And he's in the Super Bowl. He's not Ryan Suckup in the Super Bowl, okay, as Mr. Irrelevant. He's leading the 49ers at quarterback into the Super Bowl as Mr. Irrelevant. I'm sorry, but this is more ridiculous than Kurt Warner bagging groceries. It is. For Brock Purdy to be the last pick as an pick by the 49ers and to be starting for this franchise that already, based on a garbage season from 2024, go look in Vegas to see what people think about the Niners and where they're going to end up this season. Look at the odds in the NFC right now, please.
By the way, we have 160 people in the room watching, but we don't even have 80 likes. That means more than half of you have yet to hit that like button. If you would, please. We will not haunt your own personal algorithm forever.
No.
This video will be pushed 2 more good people.
We need it.
Will then click on it and then come in and hang out with us. It's great to have you here. Like and subscribe to both Damon Bruce Plus and Thinking Out Loud.
Thinking Out Loud, Siciliano and Sam. Please check us out. It's a great page. You got plenty of Andrew walking and talking on the beach. You'll love it as well. But
just the walk and talk. I love
it's a nice little walk. He likes a little walk and talk, and he does a great job. I mean, just what pops into his head is it's an amazing place. What he knows, the amount that Andrew knows about football, it's disgusting, and I love it.
His product knowledge was in full bloom every Sunday on Red Zone, and I miss him on Red Zone. He was my ultimate Red Zone boyfriend. I spent more Sundays with Andrew Siciliano than probably any one man in my life. You know, I mean, he was.
We're confident enough to say that.
Yeah, no, I've always creeped him out with that a little bit, but it's my gift to him. Anyways, Niner Empire says, let's get this ship to 45,000 subs. Let's do it, baby.
Let's please
do it and slam those subs over at Thinking Out Loud with Siciliano and Sam as well. Thank you. Let's go ahead and just get into the numbers, because there's different ways to look at an NFL contract. You can go to guaranteed. First of all, guaranteed money is the only thing I care about.
Yes.
Annual average value, total compensation, all that stuff is literally gift wrapping for the agent's tweet. The real money is guaranteed dollars. And in that alone, Brock Purdy is the 8th highest paid quarterback in football. Pretty good, right?
It's
nice
good.
Job, Parag Marate. Nice job, Parag. Hold on. 5th in total value. He's 7th in annual average value. And again, Sam, that is pretty reasonable for a 25-year-old starting quarterback who's found mostly nothing but success at this point in his career.
Do we have? I think it's time to go to it, Damon. I want to look at the list of quarterbacks and what they're getting paid. So this is okay. I have Dak in the top 10, and most people think I'm insane. And the number is 60 million when you look at the average per year. And I know we're just trying to make it easy for everyone, digestible. We're trying to make it digestible.
Here's something that no one will argue with. Dak Prescott is a better quarterback than Jerry Jones is a responsible spendthrift owner. Okay.
Without question, and we don't even need to ask anybody that. But there's 2 names on here I want to look at specifically, because I want to take everyone, I want to get in the time machine, Damon. 2024, the offseason before last season. The 2 names that you'll see there, right back to back, are Trevor and Tua.
Yep.
Both Trevor and Tua got new deals last season. Look at those numbers, and I know Tua is only $100,000 more than Purdy at the moment, but they're ahead of Brock Purdy. Number one, Brock Purdy got paid now, they got paid then, which technically means Purdy easily could have slotted above the 2 of them, and we never would have flinched. Technically, Brock Purdy, considering he's a starting quarterback for a team that's been in the Super Bowl in the last 2 seasons, if he was sitting at number 1 or 2, that would be okay. He plays a position where as soon as you are the next guy to be re-upped, you make the most. Right. The agent walks in and says, Dak's making 60. His deal was signed 3 seasons ago. That's the price for a quarterback. That's where we're starting. That's what could have happened. And it actually would have been a reasonable argument for his agent to make. And instead, Brock is behind the 2 guys that signed most recently in Trevor and Tua. And the other thing I want to remind everybody is, how does it feel writing that check to Tua right now? How does that feel? Well, how confident are the Dolphins that Tua is making it through an entire season and leading the Dolphins in that division
here's the thing.
To the playoffs?
If you don't like Tua, the quarterback, how do you feel about Tua, the about to be another concussion? You know, he's not a bad quarterback. He's not, but people love to tell you what he isn't. He's been Miami's best quarterback in a long time, which is why they gave him that deal. But then Concussion City is a town that he moved into, and again, a huge concern since.
That's his head. Okay, and Trevor Lawrence is coming off a brutal season in Jacksonville, where Mac Jones played at the end of the year, not even because Trevor was healthy enough. Had they been in contention, Trevor would have played at the end of last season, and instead they said, you know what, Mac, you just take it. That's how terrible the season was, that Trevor just decided he's not playing the last 2 weeks of the season. So those 2 guys, look at those contracts. Brock Purdy could have easily made more than both of those, and he's not. He's slotted beautifully in the middle there.
Right there. Here's the thing. Brock Purdy over Jared Goff. I would take Brock Purdy above Jared Goff. Brock Purdy over Tua Tagovailoa. I would take Brock Purdy over Tua. I would take Brock Purdy over Trevor Lawrence.
So would the Jags right now. So would the Jags.
At the price point that we're looking at right there. Brock Purdy over Josh Allen.
Okay, guess what? Okay, there should be a certain bar, right? And if the bar is Josh Allen, I'm okay with that.
If the Bills call today and say, would you like to trade Brock Purdy for Josh Allen? I'm driving Brock to SFO myself.
Yes.
Okay.
But there's not a lot of guys on that list.
Jordan
There's
Love?
not.
Am I trading Brock Purdy for Jordan Love? I don't think so.
Nope. And you don't have to. And again, I'll go back to the head-to-head and just say we've actually seen it. We've actually seen that, and Brock won that game, and I wouldn't exactly say that game didn't matter considering it sent the Niners to the NFC Championship in the year that they went to the Super Bowl.
There's no doubting it, even though he's yet to win it all, who in Cincinnati does. But this guy right here is special.
Special.
Joe Burrow's special. We see it. We know it. There's no denying it. If you can't admit that, you shouldn't be playing or looking or watching or talking about football ever. This guy, I don't think I'm trading Brock Purdy for this guy either.
No, and again, head to head, Niners fans, look at the last couple of games against the Cowboys.
It's always the playoffs too, where it just goes.
I mean, that's it's particularly bad when you're having a Niners conversation and Dak comes up. It's a bad one. He doesn't like to have that conversation very much at all. And further down that list, we'll get to it later. Wow. There is some money being spent at that position.
By the way, we will get down to it later, but this is Lander Film, who comes in with a $5 for the ganja jar. Thank you on a Friday night, especially.
It's great.
Great show. Congratulations for betting on yourself. How many rookies on D start this year? And yes, whatever they paid Andrew S., it wasn't enough. Yeah, Siciliano deserved more for sure.
They created that show, by the way. The show then went, NFL Network did their own version, but DirecTV was the first one to do that show. They were the original, and Andrew just ended up, it just, whatever. The business is what it is. And yes, we love Red Zone changed football for all of us. So,
and look, Andrew Siciliano might not have the high national profile gig that he used to have, but he has his dream job right now. He is the radio voice of the Cleveland Browns, the team that if you just watched him on Red Zone, you know that he was suffering through them every single Sunday. Lander, I'm going to tell you right now, you're talking about at least, I think, four starting rookies on the defensive side of that football. So it's going to be interesting.
And by the way, and
start 4 rookies against.
And by the way, 2 very special seasons last year. When you look at teams in the NFC, were the Rams and obviously the Eagles defensively, they played well above their head. 2 defensive rookie of the year finalists for the Rams and the Eagles. So starting rookies on defense is what you should root for your team every year. You should be excited for rookies on defense. That's what you need. If you really want to dominate in this league, you need rookies to bang immediately out of the draft.
By the way, a new member from DC. Become a member. Thank you. You want to talk about really supporting the channel, becoming a member. That officially gets a bottle pull here.
Yeah, that's a pull.
That gets a pull.
That's a pull. I love that.
I love that. You got anything?
I'm done with my coffee. I really need to go. I need to be more prepared. I need to be more prepared when it comes to to being able to pull during the show. There we go. That was a glorious sip. Glorious sip right there. Glorious sip.
Everybody's off season. Now's the time to work on it. We'll be ready come the regular season. Yeah,
I'll have all my weapons around me in a more significant way. I want to really take people back to the Super Bowl, also to the Super Bowl season for the Niners. Cheers. And in that game, again, yes, cheers for sure. I love that, DC. Thank you, DC. That's huge, by the way, that you did that for us. That Super Bowl, the game itself, in overtime, Brock Purdy's in position to win the Super Bowl. And yes, perhaps, everyone kills Shanahan for the decision to take the ball first. And, yes, right. Now it becomes regrettable. But
Brock walked off the field with a win. He walked off the field with a lead. The last time he was in between the lines, the 49ers were winning.
he's that close. And I understand getting back there. You can't just say we were close and we're going to get back, because it is an uphill battle to get back there.
History says you don't get back there.
But this team is poised with who is at coach and who is at quarterback. And again, you still have your Saquon Barkley in Christian McCaffrey. And remember that used to go the opposite way. Remember that Christian McCaffrey, I mean, yes, Saquon had an unbelievable season, but Christian McCaffrey set the bar at that position before last season, where he's injured and Saquon has a record-setting season. Okay, yes, of course. But this team is poised to be special. And as long as Bosa is running things on defense, this is a wrecking ball defense that can dominate that conference. This is a team that can be in the Super Bowl again and was handed the opportunity with the schedule also. Remember that.
It's a big advantage that the 49ers now have over the NFL. And there's been a few years that they had any advantage. They were actually put at disadvantage, and it caught up with them. Bad drafts caught up with them. Here's the thing. Even though they've had bad drafts, I wouldn't say that they've had a bad front office. John Lynch is imperfect, but bad at it is not what I would call him. All you can really hope for a 49ers fan, for any fan can really hope for of an NFL team, because remember, the difference between the best basketball team in the NBA and the worst basketball team is a chasm that is like this, okay? In the NFL, the single best team and the worst team in the league are this. They're that far apart. They're that far apart. All you want is a good coach, a good quarterback, an owner who writes the checks and stays out of the way, and a front office that is good at it. That's all you can hope for. I see there's a lot of chest thumping here from Ramilla, who's a Rams fan, and saying, "Oh, I'm ecstatic. Purdy got his back." But here's the thing: what are the Rams? Well run, good quarterback, good coach, competent. But that doesn't mean that they are winning Super Bowls every year, because that's just not how this league works. What do the Rams have? The same thing the Chiefs have. What do the Eagles have? They have all that in place. What do the Bills have? Maybe not that coach.
No.
We don't know. We don't know, because they've been well built and they got a great quarterback, but strategically, maybe they aren't exactly what they need to be. You want to say that about Kyle Shanahan? A couple more years of coming up short, maybe you'd have a point. But I'm going to tell you this: the entire league copies what the 49ers do, especially in their running game. Nobody's copying what Buffalo does.
Not at all.
Results are not guaranteed. Do you have the right people in place to begin the process on the best foot each and every year? And I think they have that. I think the 49ers have that. I see incompetence all over this league. When I look at the 49ers, sometimes there's a ton of disappointment, but it's not born out of incompetence. This is
an organization that throughout the years has gotten it right more than wrong. I understand Tom Sula was once your head coach. Okay, I'm not talking about that necessarily, but again, it's not like you sat on Tom Sula for a decade. You figured out quickly that wasn't great. Chip Kelly, that wasn't great. You figured it out quickly, right? You said, okay, we're getting out of this. It's not working. We're getting out of it.
They got out of Trey Lance fast.
And who allowed that? The performance of Brock Purdy. Just understand that this should be celebrated, because for Niner fans, you should be rooting for this. Fans should root for these stories, because these are the unexpected ones. And the guy that's been beating you in the NFC West is the guy that all along, Matt Stafford, he's drafted number. I mean, that's a story. He's supposed to be where he's at. Matthew Stafford, his whole life was groomed to be that. Brock Purdy was not at all. This is a Disney story. This is such a beautiful story that he became this guy for this franchise, and everyone should be excited for it. And look at what he has done. Look at him season in, season out. The question you want to ask yourself is Ricky Pearsall, Jawan Jennings, is that going to be the answer? With Ayuk maybe not 100%, without Debo, with McCaffrey coming back from an injury, there's bigger question marks there than at quarterback.
Yep.
Quarterback, there's not questions. Yes, you can wonder what's going to happen without Debo, and I've said it many times. That playbook, that offensive playbook with Debo healthy, with him not on the field, those were two very different things. I actually think not having him in the building at all is going to allow Kyle now to concentrate on the idea that he's not available, as opposed to finding out Wednesday or Thursday in a week that Debo's not available. Now at least you know for an entire season, we don't have the Debo plays anymore, period.
Well, and unfortunately, those Debo plays, instead of unlocking things, became easy to predict, became net negative plays more than they were helping you win football games. So let me tell you, the 49ers, whatever player they still need, whatever talent they might lack at any position group, what they do have going for them is the best schedule you will ever fucking see in your life.
So good.
It's insane how good of there is no easy schedule. It's a favorable schedule in the NFL, especially from a rest surplus, standpoint. You are not going to be facing nearly 3 weeks of rest disadvantage against your opponent like you did just last year. And you saw how that went into last year unraveling. So you have an incredible schedule, no unique body clock disadvantage. You have Robert Saleh back.
Oh, we didn't even say that. Thank you for
Saleh is an NFL head coach and a defensive wizard who absolutely gets the best out of his guys, and had the 49ers defense cooking and had the Jets defense cooking, and will hopefully get this defense cooking again real soon. You have something other than the worst special teams you will ever see in your life. Even if they bring back Moody and you're concerned about his missed kick, let Moody miss 5 field goals next year. If that punt coverage unit alone is better, the 49ers are winning 2 extra football games. If their kickoff coverage unit is better, they're winning an extra football game. So improve special teams, best defensive coach in the league is sort of back in the room. Best defensive, that's probably an oversell on Saleh, but a very good defensive presence, a very good offensive-minded head coach, stability now at quarterback that is unwavering. You got Hall of Fame tight end in George Kittle. You got a Hall of Fame left tackle. You got a future Hall of Fame defensive end in Nick Bosa, if his career gets back on that trajectory, with a bunch of young dudes who Chris Kasurik coached them up. I mean, look, how about this? I think there's a lot more to like about the 49ers chances than to not like. What does that guarantee you? Like that 250 will get you a ride on Muni. All of that hope. But
there's nothing there without beating. You got to be better than the Rams, which right now technically you're not based on last season. But you and I both know that this division is going to come down to those two teams. And can you beat that team? And I think that strategically you are in a better spot coming into this season than you were last season. And remember this, the Rams were ready to walk away from Stafford. Let's not sugarcoat this. The Rams let Matthew Stafford talk to other teams. That's because at some point they thought at some point perhaps we can get something else for that price tag. So don't fool yourself into thinking that the Rams just have it better figured out than you when it comes to that position. There is no guarantee that Stafford is better than what you have at quarterback in Purdy. Purdy has been as good as Stafford. He hasn't won the Super Bowl the way Stafford has, but head-to-head in these games, Purdy is outstanding. And go back to last season, what happened against the Rams. And I'm telling you, that first game against the Rams was the best Brock Purdy has looked maybe in his entire run as the Niners quarterback.
Again, I'm going to make the argument that you hate. But for the NFC title game,
sure,
Shanahan's got an awful lot of ownage over in the Rams, and that's undeniable. It is that the pendulum absolutely swings back to the middle. Like you can have 10 regular season wins if he's got one NFC title game over you. That's a big one.
That's a big one.
Middle, it really does. But I think if you're a 49er fan, you should be excited. This has been a great week for the 49ers. That schedule could not have come out more perfectly. This is now a done deal. The anxiety, the kvetching, the content creation that has been based around this fucking deal has just been, again, thank God it's over. Our long national nightmare is over.
And the Kittle thing, by the way, got done pretty quick also. And there's not drama, but there's not drama about Debo, and there's not drama about Kittle, and there's now not drama about the quarterback. This is looking pretty good. If you're a Niners fan, I would say maybe you hit it on the head from Japan. Maybe your first round pick, there were other options. We're going to let Saleh do what he can do there. But, there was a little bit of maybe there could have been something else there. But overall, what has happened? And remember, free agency looked ugly. I can understand that. It was looking like, okay, wow, what are we going to do to replenish what we had when free agency hit? It feels like that is coming around. And let me remind everybody this about the schedule, because we said it yesterday, Damon. There's 3 games on the schedule that could have been different, okay? That Bears game could have been a Lions game. Yep. That Browns game could have been a Ravens game. And that Giants game could have been an Eagles game. That is the silver lining behind finishing in last place last season. Those 3 games, which everyone's got on the magnet on their fridge right now as win, could have been 3 oh shit games.
And by the way, those oh shit games belong to the LA Rams.
That is correct. Rams have to play the Lions, the Ravens, and the Eagles, where the Niners have the Browns and the Giants and the Bears. There you go.
You take that every day of the week that they try to sell it to you. One last bit of business before the full attention of X's and O's can really dominate all headlines and news cycles, because Purdy and George Kittle, those extensions are done. Now it's time to get a deal done for all-world linebacker Fred Warner, and I think that they will get this done. Fred's got 2 years left. His cap numbers, though, are 29 and 26. These are exactly the cap numbers that when you like that player and he's cooking and he's still this young, you're like, yeah, we're going to extend you. That this should also, like the Kittle thing and to an extent like the Brock Purdy thing. Again, the deal that Brock Purdy actually agreed to is the same ballpark that I've been saying it would come in at for over 6 months now. So again, it shouldn't even have taken this long, but it's done. Congratulations. Anyways, Nick Wagner, who covers the Niners for ESPN, says an extension with Fred Warner, obviously, it shouldn't be too difficult. Similar to Kittle this year, McCaffrey last year, it's largely about moving money around, providing some more guarantees, and lowering near-term cap numbers. So that's what it's just. Caps are manipulatable. Cap numbers that you think are going to gum up your cap are manipulatable. Remember, Patrick Mahomes at one point signed a $250 million contract and now isn't even in the top 10.
He's a steal. He's a steal. Remember, we went through the top 10 and Patrick Mahomes' name was not mentioned when we looked at the top deals in this league. That's ridiculous.
The minute Patrick Mahomes isn't the highest paid player in all of football, he's a bargain.
That's it. That's it, because we all start that list with him. Let me read you something, Damon. Since becoming the Niners starting quarterback in 2022, during the latter part of his rookie season, Brock Purdy has the NFL's best passer rating at 106.2 and a league leading, you hear this, leading 9 yards per pass attempt and 13 yards per completion.
I keep hearing weak arm, noodle arm, rag arm, dink and dunk. Again, dink and dunk is, leading the NFL in passing yardage like he was Roger Staubach, the only guy throwing 40 yards downfield. But
let me remind everyone also, okay, so we already said Montana and Young. This organization is Montana and Young. Brock Purdy, Niners franchise record 2023 with 4,280 yards passing, 31 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions. He led the league in 2023 with a 113 passer rating.
Look at it this way. Brock Purdy is already the third greatest quarterback in 49ers history. With all due respect to John Brody memories, which people tell me about, I never watched him play, and Jeff Garcia, who was a Pro Bowler and very good, but did not reach a Super Bowl. He's already the third best quarterback in franchise history that has 2 of the 10 best quarterbacks of all time, including the guy who probably does occupy seat number 1, but for this Brady guy who,
sure, that's okay.
Yeah.
But that was Brady. Let's just say this. Brady's idol was that guy. So we can at least say that.
Sure.
Joe Montana, Steve Young, Brock Purdy. And as crazy as it is to think that, or that it was to think that in 2022 before he hit the field, that's gone now. We can say that. Now Brock Purdy has done things in this league. Brock Purdy has done things in this league for this franchise against elite teams. Again, the comeback against the Lions. Let's also look at that. You know what? Watch the NFC Championship from 2 seasons ago. Watch the comeback against the Lions and how ridiculous that was. I'm sorry, but you're down and out. That game's essentially over. What, your quarterback has nothing to do with coming back in that game? Brock Purdy, that is such a special moment for this franchise. You're getting your ass kicked. You're getting your ass kicked defensively in that game in the first half. And you come back and win that game. You think Purdy had big passes in that game? I mean, yes, the play to Ayuk that bounces off the helmet, it's unreal. But guess what? That ball was thrown by Purdy. And unlike Garoppolo, who misses Emmanuel Sanders in the Super Bowl, Brock Purdy has made some pretty unbelievable plays. And you brought up Fred Warner. I just want to remind everybody, search Brian Baldinger, Fred Warner, if you want amazing content celebrating what Fred Warner is on the football field for this defense. It is glorious.
He's one of the ultimate chess pieces in the league right now. He really is. By the way, thank you to my nostrils who says this duo is so good. Seriously. Sammy, Uncle Dame. It's the world's finest. Supers and soups and what? Big bats? What does he say?
Yeah. Soups.
Bats? Okay.
Soups and bats.
Thank you very much. Let me just ask you this, since he used to produce for the guy. How's Colin Cowherd going to be shitting all over this very reasonable contract? Because here's the thing. Colin might not like Brock Purdy very much, but he understands NFL business. So he probably in his mind had Brock Purdy coming in right underneath Josh Allen. He's not. Again, he's closer to the back of the top 10 paid than he is higher to the front of the top 10 paid. How is Colin Cowherd going to shit on the Niners and this Brock Purdy contract on Monday's show?
Let's admit what'll happen. And here's what the benefit of this Friday news story is for Colin. What Colin will do is take the temperature of this deal over the next 2 days through social media, through shows like even through commentaries like you and I are doing right here.
This Cowherd, you could
yes,
something.
Colin will take these opinions and let them marinate. And on Monday, he's going to walk into that room well ahead of when anyone else prepares for their shows. Colin's unbelievable when it comes to that. He is in there ready to prep and ready to just be filled with research to back his point up. But if the world says this is a great deal, Colin will find a way to tell you that there is a mistake somewhere in here. And if the world and the temperature is saying this is an awful deal, Colin will find a way to back up the fact that this is an incredible bargain. That is the brilliance of what Colin does. So I'm actually really eager to see. I'm eager to see two things. I'm eager to see what the world will think. Like, in other words, are you and I saying the same thing everybody else is? I mean, right now we're ahead of most of the, right? Like, most people are not talking about this yet because, like you said, it's going to take, the world is not doing this until Monday. So we're ahead of it. We're setting the bar for what the opinion's going to be on this by saying today we want to say something about it. We're ahead of most people that are sort of in the Monday through Friday morning cycle.
Right. Remember, most people's opinions are given to them.
That's true. And you and I were well ahead of this, screaming that we knew 50 would not scare us. 50 is where this was going to be, and it was good, and we were okay with 51 to 59. Really, we were going to be okay with any of that. But that's what. So I sense that Colin is going to be talking about how this is a bargain. That is my sense, because I sense that the rest of the world is going to feign outrage at where Brock Purdy, because now that Brock, in other words, when Brock's making $5 million and leading you to the NFC Championship and the Super Bowl, no one's got anything to say other than bravo. 50 million changes that math considerably. And Brock's not, I mean, because of that Ravens game, he was like, yes, he was in the MVP conversation until that game. But Brock's not in the Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow. So like the idea that he's within that makes people think, wow, this is crazy money. So my guess is many people are going to be shitting on this, and Colin will explain, much like you and I are, calm down. This is a deal. That's my bet right now.
I mean, here's the thing. The Knicks are in the Eastern Conference Finals, so this might not be on Sports Center until that series is over.
It's unbelievable. It's really unbelievable. And let me say, by the way, one other thing, just since you went other sports, I love that Toronto forced a Game 7. My dream, and America's not going to want to hear this necessarily, but my dream is Toronto and Edmonton in the Stanley Cup Final. Here's
nightmare. They're all ratings nightmare.
But guess what? Maybe, but remember, Austin Matthews is an American.
No one even knows who Austin Matthews is.
But he's the second best player in the game, and he's leading the Maple Leafs. And I just want to say, Edmonton and Toronto would be unbunbelievable. Unbelievable.
Toronto winning a Stanley Cup. There's nothing bigger in hockey than that.
That is. I mean, if the Knicks win the NBA championship, I'll say it's at that level.
It would be that. It is that.
Yes, it is that. It is that.
Suffering, iconic franchise. We'll see what happens. We will see what happens. By the way, Pacers in 6.
Feels like that.
Pacers in 6. One other thing, and we'll wrap it up because, by the way, I will be on with Kruger. We were unable to with power outage. I was unable to do a Friday wake up with Larry, so we're going to do a Saturday morning waking up with this news. Sammy, if you'd like to join us, come along.
That's great. That's great. I'm here. I love it.
NFL owners are about to discuss letting players being involved in Olympic flag football. Okay. Flag football coming to the 2028 Summer Games in Los Angeles. Here's my position. No. Never. What are you talking about? Also, don't need it. And if anyone said, well, Damon, it's flag football, what could possibly go wrong? I want you to Google Robert Edwards beach football.
Thank you for bringing up that name. It was on the tip. I was going to say Robert Smith. I think you're right. Robert, yeah.
Edwards was Robert Smith?
I'm going to double check, but okay. I'm going to double check right now. Yep.
Because Robert Smith was the guy from Ohio State. I don't think he ever heard like this. Yeah. This is Robert. Yeah. Robert Edwards was more of a Minnesota Viking than this was definitely it happened to a Patriot. I don't think Robert Edwards was ever Robert Smith was ever a Patriot.
It's Edwards. You're right. It's Edwards. It's Edwards.
This guy tore his knee so bad playing beach volleyball the week of the Pro Bowl that they considered amputation. Like it was as bad as Alex Smith's leg break. They considered amputation. That's how bad it was.
Unbelievable.
And beyond that, let me just give the quick Olympic history lesson. We're not doing today in history here, Cyrus.
Right.
So we're gonna do a little Olympic history lesson. So the Dream Team was a response to a problem. The problem was the rest of the world was sending their pros and our amateurs couldn't quite get it done anymore. Hockey, the rest of the world was sending its professional league players who weren't in the NHL, but were still much better than college players. So that was a response to a problem. They're sending pros. Well, then we're sending pros. Dude, I'm pretty sure we could win the World Flag Football Gold Medal Olympics with a really good team from high school. We should be able to, right? A flag football high school all-star team should be able to bring home the gold, much less a flag football college all-star team. They should definitely be able to do it. Don't need pros for this. The rest of the world is not playing flag football with us. Come on.
Who else is fielding a team with anything close to football? I mean, obviously not football, but football. American football, as it's called. I mean, who else is even fielding an interesting team if we're throwing pros at this? And
out there, is there a qualifier for this?
And okay, so winning gold in this says what? The obvious, right? Like no one's saying congratulations. This is just like exactly what you should have done. This only sets up for the terrible disaster of not winning it all. If Canada beats the US in anything football, this is a disaster. This looks terrible on the NFL.
Right.
I'm okay. Here's the thing.
It would be, look at it this way. It would be really embarrassing if there was a world competition of baseball and America didn't win it. And then you were like, well, the greatest player in the world is from Japan. And oh, by the way, those Dominican guys are pretty freaking good at this shit too. And there you go.
But football feels different than that. And I'll also admit another thing. I'll be watching. Like I want to tell myself that I won't care if flag football is on during the Olympics. I will be watching it, and if some of our favorite players are in those games, you'll be watching it also. I just cannot.
If the guys I've never even fucking heard of are in those games,
but it's on the list of unnecessary.
Absolutely,
yes,
absolutely. You know what I would like to do? Let's send the old timers. What's Dan Marino doing?
But not even Dan Marino. How about Terrell Owens? Like T.O. and Chad Johnson, they would kind of be perfect for this. I'd love to see guys. Yeah, I'd love to see guys that were like almost there that couldn't quite. Jamarcus Russell, a couple times I've heard about comebacks that he was trying to make, right? I mean, if he did all about 80 yards from his knees, I imagine what he could do in the sand.
Maybe this is the Trey Lance comeback story.
Finally.
Here's the thing: the Chargers wouldn't even let a third-string quarterback go. Maybe get hurt in something that football. The NFL's too big to even pretend an Olympic gold medal matters. It matters in the world of sports, but not in the world of football.
No. I don't even know. I'm not Goodell. Why is this an initiative? It's an initiative for sort of children and then even women to get involved. I do think that is what it's about. It's about having everyone play the game. I like overall the concept of that. I like.
You just give me an island of those Samoan chicks. I'm gonna mow over this whole fucking. I mean, will we have enough speed on the edge? I don't know, but
oh man.
Otherwise, look out for Team Samoa. Anyway, look. Brock Purdy has a contract that is a good contract for him, obviously, for the Niners. The dollars that you're going to be complaining about today are 2 years away from being whistling through the woods, sing-songy numbers. The $50 million a year quarterback is about to be the way you describe any true starting quarterback. When I say true starting, here's what I mean when I say true starting quarterback. You get hurt. The minute you're healthy, you're back in there.
That's without argument. Yes.
It's not even guaranteed money. It's not even contractual situation. Is the next guy who's going to come in, even if he has success, the minute you're healthy, you're going right back in. That's a true starting quarterback in this league. And the Niners have that in Brock Purdy. And any team that has that by the end of Brock Purdy's contract, 5 years from now, will be making that. What have we got? 32 teams in the league. There will be at least 32 quarterbacks making in the neighborhood of $50 million 5 years from now.
And you said it.
Procedure. The top will be making 80 to 90. And I'm telling you, Sam, it's not going to be good for us when it happens because, like tariffs, that money, that tax is going to get paid. We're going to be paying for it. You know, the cost that you pay for your direct ticket on
Sunday ticket. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
The cost of going to the game, your parking space, your hot dog, your concessions, you will pay for that. It won't just be the next TV deal or streamer that pays for it. We will pay for that. We will see a $90 to $100 million a year athlete. Not in our lifetimes. Like this will happen when we're old men. This is going to happen before our kids graduate high school, Sam.
And one other thing, so you can sleep better at night about knowing what Patrick Mahomes gets paid. He was the first $500 million athlete.
Let me go back up to this. Hold on. Wait a
minute. So Mahomes is not on the list right now, top 10, because he's in the 40s, not the 50s, which is ridiculous. But when he signed, he was at $500 million in the total of that contract. Herbert? This is what's hilarious. Wait, look at the names you're going to pass.
Lamar just resigned, and he's been passed by two
look
guys?
At this. Yes. Right. By the way, as you scroll, how funny is it to scroll here? So Jalen's the Super Bowl MVP, so we're not going to have much of an argument there. But Kyler, Deshaun's obviously just that's just screaming off this list.
Look at it this way: I'll take 5 Kyler Murrays for the price of 1 Deshaun Watson.
That's for damn sure. Kirk Cousins and then Mahomes. I mean, and again, you could have slotted that different. I mean, Cousins doesn't have he's tied with Mahomes, and that's just alphabetically in there. But the fact that Cousins and Mahomes are making the same amount is laughable. I love the Derek Carr next season.
Be the number. This was going to be the number that was going to mean, well, the Rams aren't going to be able to build a good enough team around Matthew Stafford. And this, paying Matthew Stafford $42 million is going to mean that the rest of the Rams, you got Stafford and then Aaron Donald, and then when Donald leaves, you're done. No. By the way, Derek Carr is not even on this list anymore. Geno Smith, there you go. Darnold. And
the best deal, I think the best deal on this list is the guy you're passing right there. I think Baker at 33. If you're winning a playoff game, it's $40 million.
Is this the best value at the position?
Well, in a non-rookie, Baker Mayfield is by far. Yes, go through it.
Obviously, yeah.
Right. I mean, obviously, C.J. Stroud and Jaden right now. We're going to pop off this list.
That you had Jaden Daniels in your top 10. Jaden Daniels, I think, is about to have a full-on C.J. Stroud. Year 2 is harder than year 1. Watch.
Yeah. And that's even why I had him at 8 on my list, because I said, okay, 1 season, but I'm not so sure. Anthony Richardson is looking really brutal at the moment. The rest of it's not even worth scrolling to. It comes down to, and by the way, I sent it to you just before this list was updated. Purdy was right there. At the J.J. McCarthy number.
Right. Look at Mac Jones making 4.2.
Good for you, Mac. Good for you. Mac will start a game. Mac will start a game this season. Hopefully it's week 18 and nothing else is going on. But the best deal in right now, the best deal at that position is Baker Mayfield. Clearly.
I think so.
And based on the Brock number, Baker may, Baker's not going to sit out, I don't think, but Baker could go in and get more money. He could absolutely go in and get more money based on the fact that they've won that division. By the way, the only NFC team that's been in the playoffs 4 straight seasons is Baker Mayfield's. Is Tampa.
Buccaneers.
Tampa
Bay Buccaneers.
So
here's my single favorite stat about Brock, and then I guess we'll tell everyone about the Hamantash.
Yes, please. Yes.
And then look, hey, be back 9 a.m. West Coast time. I'm going to be doing Wake Up Again with Kruger, Sammy, and I. Going to be doing more stuff as football comes along, and it's. I mean, do you want to join me and Larry tomorrow?
Yes, I do. And I'm going to make sure Levi doesn't have anything on the docket here, but that sounds beautiful.
Text Kruger. Tell him.
I will. I love that.
Here's the deal. Brock Purdy's new contract has an annual average salary of $53 million. He'll be earning and getting paid more per week under his new deal than he did over the first 3 years of his contract. He'll make $2.9 million per week. It's good work if you can find it, by the way. $2.9 million per week. Over the first 3 years of his contract, Brock Purdy's salary was so low, it didn't even count against the NFL cap. I mean, that's amazing. That's truly, truly, truly amazing.
He's a gift.
And I would hope that this is I would hope that this is the end to the complaining about Brock Purdy. Now, I also know that that's not the way the internet nor sports media works anymore. I know that some people think that, now they can really go after Brock Purdy because they get a number that no one likes. Again, if you don't like this number, what you're saying is you don't understand how any of this works in the first place.
You just don't get it.
You don't get it. Here's the thing. You might get sports and you might be able to talk a good game about sports, but when it comes to the business of sports, you are the most clueless person in the room. This is an incredible deal. Again, 8th in guaranteed dollars. That's the most important number. He's 8th in guaranteed dollars. We haven't seen the particulars of this deal yet. Haven't seen the walkaway year. You know that there is a walkaway year built in probably after year 3, certainly year 4. They're not going to let him get to a 5th year if something goes terribly wrong. I'm really interested to see what all the particulars. I've been on Sportico and I've been Googling for the full. We don't have it yet. We'll have that on Monday. That'll be what we can sink our teeth into on Monday. Maybe even we have some stuff tomorrow. But Sam, I'm so glad you could join me for an emergency show. We needed to do this.
Sound the alarm. This was a sound for you and me. This was like, this got me out of, I don't know what the hell I was doing when this popped across my phone. I immediately said, though, it happened. Like for you, and I felt like it was news that happened for you and me. It was like as if we were getting the 50 million, but I mean, it was at that level. Yes, it happened, and it happened the right way.
Well, look at it this way. It made me sit up on my couch awfully fast. I said, what? Oh, honey, it happened. It happened. And I'm like, of course there's a power issue in the house.
Paid that man his money. Paid that man his money.
That man his money. By the way, Jeff, this is a great deal. Yeah, it is. It's a good deal. Jeff also says, you're doing Wake Up on a Saturday? We are. Couldn't do it today because of the power outage. So we will be doing it on a Saturday.
Love that.
Thank you so much for tuning in. Like and subscribe on your way out if you have not already, and do so on both channels, not just yours truly here on the Plus. Make sure you go over and do that. Thinking Out Loud, Siciliano, and Sammy as well. Thank you so very, very much. And please do remember, sports don't build character. They reveal it. And like that, they're gone.